Hey everybody, World's Biggest Geek here. My name is Kevin, back in another video here today. And I just finished season 2 of Peacemaker. Truly an outstanding performing show this was, guys. Truly the best. One of the greatest shows of all time. It truly was phenomenal. James Gunn did a great job writing this show down, told an incredible story. And I have to say, I give props to John Cena, who portrays Peacemaker. His truly, like, his betrayal and the emotion scenes, like everything. John Cena, I think, is truly a phenomenal actor of all time. He truly plays and embodies Peacemaker. He did a great job. Like I said, the first time we got introduced to Peacemaker was in the Suicide Squad when James did his version of that team. And brought him to give him his 2-season show. So in the early comic books, in the golden age, Peacemaker was a hero. He was a good guy. He was a guy that had a rocket pack, shield, helmet. He had guns. So Peacemaker at the time was a good guy in the early golden age comics, but it was brought by another company that also did the Spider. I think The Question and Judo Master, they were all part of another comic book company before DC got the rights to Peacemaker and Spider and Judo Master and The Question, because they were all part of another company when DC did the whole Crisis on Infinite Earths to bring all these characters together. So in the early golden days, Peacemaker was a hero before James Gunn brought him into the world of the DC movie of the Suicide Squad. But that was his introduction in the Golden Age days. So further ado, let's get into this. So like I said, season 2 was crazy, gnarly. It was insane. It was wacky. It was mind-blowing. Truly was like an outstanding show. It was truly the best. I think it really just like knocked out the park. Like I said, James Gunn did an awesome job. So I guess Hardcore and Smith, like Smith always liked Hardcore. He always felt for her, but she never felt that same way for him. So they just never were a thing in the beginning because he just liked her. So in the first episode, which was really cool, was we got introduced to Maxwell Lord, who was in the Superman movies, a brief cameo in the Superman. So he was the one of Lord Tech Industries, and he was the one that made the Justice Gang. And right beside him was Hawkgirl and Green Lantern. So I thought that was really cool to see those characters be introduced into the show. So I was like, okay, that was awesome. That was cool. That was terrific. I was okay. And because too, in the beginning, they kind of swapped it. So you did see Supergirl, Green Lantern, Hawkgirl, and Superman, when Peacemaker was walking out of that barn. So now, like I said, Peacemaker was getting mad because, like, oh, forget them. I don't need to be a part of a team. I'm my own hero. Because he saved the world from an invasion of a gigantic space caterpillar cow, that had these little butterflies going everywhere. So so Chris, who, he woke up in the middle, early in the morning because his bird had to go out. And so he opened the dimensional rift and Eagly was flying away. He's like, hey, I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. And then Eagly was, banging on another door. And that door, led to, he recognized that this door had a keypad. And it was the same exact keypad like his. So he punched in the code, everything came in and opened. And as soon as he opened the door, he sees like this montage and shelf of all these things. And right by the corner was his father. So he's like, whoa. He's probably thinking it's like a dream. Like, am I dream walking? Am I seeing something crazy? What's going on? My dad, he was killed long ago. And so as he went back to that Earth again, he saw his brother Keith, who was known as Captain Triumph, who is Keith. And so him and his father were talking. His father on that world was known as the Blue Dragon. They were the top trio. They were like, these three awesome superheroes who protect the world and saved it. So Captain Triumph and the Blue Dragon and Peacemaker were heroes. So Peacemaker, they were having a drink, they were relaxing, and his brother got up. He's like, "Hey, I love you, man." He's like, "Love you too." And then his other version of himself came home and found Chris in his room. So then, he fought himself, and at the very end of it, as he fought himself, he also killed himself. He's like, "Oh man," he's like, "What did I do?" He had to hide the body, get rid of it. He felt so awkwardly. He's like, "Yo, I killed myself from another world." So he was like, he wants to make a difference. So because Argus was after him and his dimensional rift, they wanted to go after Peacemaker for what he did. So he left this world and went to that world to be with, Keith and his father, to be a hero and protecting, like they're like on that world, they're celebrities, they're recognized, like, oh, they see Peacemaker, they say, "Hey, Peacemaker, it's Peacemaker," going crazy. And he's like, best dimension ever. And on that world, hardcore likes him. So, he felt more happy on that world. And you did see a reference of a giant kaiju because of the kaiju and Superman. So that was a different kaiju in Peacemaker. So, he wanted to make a change until, they went after him. The 11th Street Gang went after him to go find Peacemaker. But none other than that, it turns out that the world that he was on was none other than Earth X. So my introduction to Earth X was in the Arrowverse when they did Crisis on Earth X, which that was the world where the Nazis won World War II and Hitler ruled that world for many years. And they have their own version of a Justice League with, Overman, Overgirl. They have a version of Batman, Wonder Woman, Martian Manhunter, Aquaman, Green Lantern, The Flash. That's their version of, the Justice League that rule that world. Because on Earth X, that's where the Nazis have power because of all these high, powerful metahumans. So, and she's like, hardcore's like, you couldn't tell the Nazi thing on the wall, and so they had to escape. And so Peacemaker, when he went home, and Vigilante killed the Blue Dragon's father, and Chris felt bad. He's like, "Yo, get off my brother, get off my brother," because in the original Earth where Chris came from, his father was like was greedy, so he became a boxer, and he killed his brother. He's like, "Oh, you killed your brother." So reliving that moment when they were killing his brother, he's like, stop, get off him. He didn't do anything. He's my brother. I loved him. So which Captain Triumph is alive on that world. So we don't know if Captain Triumph will be returning in season 3. We don't know if he's going to come back or not, but who knows? That will be a new surprise. Also, we have one of the secretaries from Superman reprising his role in Peacemaker, and now Rick Flag Sr., who is going after Peacemaker. And I gotta say, Peacemaker's father, Rick Flag Sr., the way he was being on Peacemaker, I was like, oh my gosh, like that guy can fight. So this whole season, he wanted revenge because of Rick Flag Jr. because Peacemaker killed him. So now he wants revenge on this guy for killing his son, and he wants it really bad. But then he also learned that Peacemaker has this dimensional rift. And so they're like, we don't want another Metropolis. So that's why this season, so the first season kind of connected to the Suicide Squad. This season connects to Superman because, in Superman, the dimensional pocket dimension was opening and cracking through all of existence. It was breaking Metropolis. So that's why Superman had to stop Lex from doing this. Also, Otis was in this show, which was really cool. So Otis was in this show helping out. And of course, none other, we had Nicholas Hoult, who played Lex Luthor in this show. And it was so cool to see Lex Luthor saying, "Oh, what's in it for me? Look, like he's like, who's Peacemaker? Is he a metahuman? Is he a clown? What is he? You know, he's like, look, I'll give you your freedom if you help me track, if you can help me find it. So he hired one of his tech boys to locate the dimensional rift pocket that Peacemaker had. Now, Peacemaker, in one of the previous episodes, his father, so they found like this little alien who was carrying this little pocket, and they shot him. So then that's when they discovered, like, oh, you know, this dimensional rift is truly a new beginning of creating this new world and so many things. And of course, Argus finally had their hands on it when Peacemaker surrendered it to them, and they went through all these doors. So one world was like a candy, colorful world, but these little bitty monsters came out and attacked them and broke their suits, and you know, and like just knocked them all out like cold. So, and then also we had a world where there was gigantic skeleton spiders that ruled the world. So like, you know, Hardcore is like, what are we doing? John's like, yo, like, what are we doing good for the good of people? And knowing that they wanted resources and everything to build, you know, see what they can find. And, you know, there was a black hole similar to the one in Superman that Ultraman went through. So maybe Ultraman could have survived on that side. We don't know. Like I said, there was just so many doorways. There was a world of the zombies. Oh, and Sasha, who was a new character. So in the comics, she is a cyborg who's connected to Brother Eye. And that's why when you first saw her eye, you know, doing that to shoot Peacemaker down, now you know, oh, she was a cybergenic woman who they just like put skin back on her to cover her cyborg body. So now, like, you know, now they finally have Peacemaker, they finally had everything. And so Rick Flag Sr. found this world known as Sanctuary. And that's where Peacemaker is left, is on Sanctuary. So now he went to the secretary. He's like, look, this could be a new place for metahumans to be secured and lock them here. So he's like, look, this is for my son Ricky. You took his life, so now I'm going to leave you here. And so now everyone is like, yo, where'd Peacemaker go? And behind him, you hear these wild creatures going crazy. And now you're thinking, okay, well, are there other metahumans there? Are there creatures? Is this a prehistoric world? What could it be? Who knows? Now Peacemaker's stuck there. So, like I said, and we got Checkmate, which was owned by Peacemaker and the 11th Street Gang, and Sasha, and one of the agents of Argus, who became friends with Adrian, talking about like animal facts. They're now working together at Checkmate to make the world a better place. So, like I said, truly was an outstanding show. One of the best. I think James Gunn nailed it. Like I said, it was just awesome. And hopefully, like I said, we'll see more of Peacemaker. Like I said, James Gunn is saying that Peacemaker is going to be in Superman Man of Tomorrow, which films next year but comes out in 2027, with Secret Wars and Batman Part 2. But overall, guys, truly was phenomenal. Great show. Like I said, it was just one of the best, and I give James Gunn and John Cena and the entire cast a great job. They did an outstanding performance, one of the best shows, and I think it truly knocked it out of the park. So I enjoyed it. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Well, that does it today. Now, I know I'm a little late, but happy day 2 of Comic-Con to everyone around the world. New York is finally here. Let's enjoy Comic-Con. Let's enjoy some great news and some surprises, and let's see what comes down the line. Well, I'll talk to you guys later. Be awesome, be terrific, and be the greatest people ever. Bye, everyone.